Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Avni is getting the kartal and she'll come with me.
No worries, no worries. Keep going. You're doing wonderful. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
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 Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Videhi, Avni, and Navya, for the wonderful kirtan. Thank you so much. It's really wonderful. So, thank you to all the wonderful friends and devotees for joining. I see Abhishek Prabhu, Avinash Prabhu, Murali Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Megha Mataji, Nandani Mataji, Sampada Mataji, Karthik Prabhu, Lakshay, Prabhu, Renu Mataji, Rashmi Mataji, all the way from Rochester. Thank you. Casey Mataji, Soumya Mataji, Daniel Prabhu. Where are you joining from, Daniel Prabhu? If you could unmute and share or turn on your video, that would be great. Those who are in a position to turn on their video, it's always good to turn on the video so we can have a more kind of a personal, discussion, and it will really help us, both sides, um, as a because we're trying to read Bhagavad Gita together, understand together. It will really help. Vijaya Mataji and Nayan Prabhu and Mohan Kanti Prabhu and Renu Mataji, Karthik Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you all for taking out your valuable time to read, understand, and apply Bhagavad Gita in our lives. So we will start with the prayers as usual, because in Kali Yuga, especially the Yuga which is going on, we need one thing for sure. Guess what? The prayers, right? So we'll start by the Mangala Charan, invoking auspiciousness and remembering Lord Hari, Lord Krishna, and his beautiful devotees, the Guru Parampara. So we'll chant it, the Mangala Charan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitham Tham Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarukhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yatkripatamahamam vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaham Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namini Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatharini Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So thank you again, dear worshipable devotees, for taking out your precious Saturday evening to study Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all scriptures, the essence of all the what is to be known. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there is, after sharing this knowledge with you, my dear Arjuna, there is nothing else to be known. And it is for a fact. Because one who has understood and applied the science of Bhagavad Gita, he or she will be absolutely happy. There is nothing else to be known. It's a big statement if you just carefully analyze it or try to understand it. Because it is the essence of all scriptures. In the Gita Mahatmya, text 7, it is said, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam, Ekam Devo Devaki Putra Eva, Eka Mantrastasya Namani Yani, Karmani, Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. So first, Ekam Shastra, one scripture. Shastra means scripture. What is that scripture? Bhagavad Gita. Ekam devasya, what is Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva? There's one supreme Lord and under whose direction all the other lords work. And that Lord is Sri Hari, Sri Krishna. Eko mantrastasya namani yani. We don't need to complicate lives by chanting thousands of mantras or trying to memorize it. And it's Upanishads, Vedas, full of thousands and thousands and millions of mantras. We in Kali Yuga, the period which is going on, we don't have that much intelligence. We don't have that much memory. We don't have that much spiritual aptitude. We don't have the inclination. So the one simple mantra, which anyone and everyone, young or old, male or female, married or unmarried, everyone can chant. What is that mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And what is that one karma? Eka karma, apitasya devasya seva, to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead by our activities. And that becomes devotional service. So we studied till text number 49 last time in our session number 10 of chapter 2. So now we will move forward and take it from text 49. So in this one, we were talking that Krishna is telling that one should keep all the abominable activities far distant by devotional service. And Prabhupada explains what does really it means, like abominable activities. So Prabhupada makes a very nice statement. Except for Krishna consciousness or work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. So we discussed this point last time of karma, pious activities, vikarma, the bad activities, and so the pious activities will take us up. We'll still have to take birth again. And once that quota of pious activities is over, or we have received the fruits, then what? Again, punarapi janaram, punarapi manna, cycle of birth and death will keep repeating. Different species, different planets in the material world. And bad activities will take us down in hellish planets or in animal form. But work in Krishna consciousness, that's the only thing which will take us away from cycle of birth and death. Now, one may say, well, does that mean that I should stop my job, stop my family, stop my education? No. The meaning is that whatever we do, the center should be Krishna consciousness. How to please the Supreme Lord, keeping in doing whatever we may be doing, whether it is taking care of the family, whether it is taking care of our studies, whether it's taking care of our home, our job, or anything for that matter. That means Krishna consciousness. Does anyone have a comment or any question? Okay. Murali Prabhu, sorry, Mohan Prabhu, did you want to say something? You're unmuted, I guess, too.
No, Prabhu. No, sir.
So with that, we'll move on to the next verse. So basically, while doing our activities, one should not desire for profit, fame, or good or bad. Just try our best, keeping Krishna as the center. In short, one should spend all our energies working in Krishna consciousness, and that will make life successful. It's a very important point. What is the barometer of success? Not by the number of bank balance we have, not by the amount of bank balance, not by the amount of house or car or external things we have, but how much we are using our energy working in Krishna consciousness. Very important line. Text number 50. Buddhi yukto jahati ham ubhesh shuktra suk सर्वत्र दुष्कृते तस्माद् योगाय युज्यस्व yoga karma sukausalam. Translation by His Divine Grace of Visharanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lakshay is already ready with the hand up, so I guess he's eager to read. Please go ahead.
Translation. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Purpose.
Thank you.
Okay.
So strive for yoga. What does yoga mean? Yoga does not mean just to move our body up and down, which many people think. Yoga means to connect. And whenever we say connect, there has to be two things, right? There has to be two things to connect. You cannot connect, one thing to. There's always like 2 plus 2, or butter plus jam, or butter bread plus butter, right? So the point is that what are we connecting in yoga? We connect the soul to the super soul, the Atma to the Paramatma, or ourself to the super self. So aligning ourself with our karma or doing activities in Krishna consciousness is basically yoga. So we have discussed about different yogas, karma yoga, and in this particular verses, Krishna is talking about buddhi yoga, which is basically Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada mentions a very nice point. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action. In short, there will not be any resultant, good or bad reaction. In short, if one is following Krishna consciousness, or if one is acting in Krishna consciousness, then one is acting in yoga. That person gets rid of both the good and the bad reactions, even in this life. So what would be the destination of such a person? Heavenly planets? Hellish planets? Yes, Vedi wants to say.
Krishna's Dham.
Yes, Krishna's Dham, spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, Vaikuntha, where there is no Kuntha. Kuntha means misery, anxiety, difficulties, problems. So I'll share an acronym for the material world. Okay. So this material world is called Pa-varga. What is it called? Pa-varga. This is the acronym. So the acronym PA, it's the Hindi letters for those who are familiar with the Devanagari script. It's PA, FA, right? And then BA, and then BHA, and then MA, right? So what does PA stand for? PA stands for Parishram. That means hard work. Right? In material world, everyone is working so hard. Working 12 hours, 14 hours, day and night, working, work hard, party harder, right? That's the slogan. But what happens? They're just trying to work for our own senses or extended senses. What happens? Fena. Fena means, they're like foaming till the mouth. And in some places, actually, literally, right? So hard, and then they just, like, I was reading an article that in some cities they work so hard, and then they can't even get to their home at the railway station or the bus station. They're just passed out, right? They just collapse and exhausted and just foaming. Ba is bandhan, Okay. Bandhan means bondage. We are talking about this in this verse, that a person who is acting in yoga is free from bondage. But if a person who is acting for sense gratification will be in bandhan, and then there will be a lot of fear. Bhaya. Bhaya means fear. Fear of losing our wealth, fear of losing our dear ones, fear of losing our position, our fame, right? In so many ways one has fear. What if I lose my job? What if I lose my home? What if I get this disease? What if I this? Lot of fear for the loss of temporary things. And then ultimately, guess what? Mrityu. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu, dhruvam janma mritasya cha, is death. No matter how rich or poor we are, no matter how beautiful or whatever we are, no matter how much wealth we may have, one thing is common for all, that is death. But the spiritual world is called apavarga. Whenever we put the word a or a in this case, it's like an antonym or opposite. So, like gyan, agyan. Gyan means knowledge, agyan means lack of knowledge. So spiritual world is apavarga. So in short, if one acting on the spiritual level, then one will not have to face all these things. One will go back to Godhead. One will not be in the grip of repeated birth and death cycle. Of course, one should work hard, keeping Krishna at the center. Then it's not just parishram. There are two types of parishram. A donkey also works very hard, correct? And a devotee also works very hard. But a devotee works for Krishna and a donkey works for one's own sense gratification. So working hard is not discouraged. But what are you working hard for? That's very important. Okay, moving on to the next verse, text number 51. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmukta padam gachanti anamayam. Yes, Abhishek, you want to read?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We already discussed these points, that great sages or devotees, those who are acting on the Krishna consciousness platform, or who are in yoga or connection with the Lord. That means they're acting at a spiritual platform. There is no repeated birth and death. There's a beautiful verse here in the Bhagavatam. It is quoted. Samashritaye padapallava lavam mahat padam punya yasho murari bhavam budhir vatsa padam param padam 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 yad vipadam natisham. Yes, Vede, you want to read this one?
Hare Krishna. For one who has accepted the bow of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of mukti, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's footprint. Parampadam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikunta, is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So what is that place where there is danger at every step? Yes, here. Here means whichever city we are. Does everyone feel that there is danger at every step? Right? How many of you feel that there is danger at every step? Would anyone like to give any example or something? Well, someone says, I'm comfortable in my nice home. I have nice bed. I can sleep on it. I have nice food. I have nice parents. What's the danger at every step? Okay, Navya wants to share. Okay, go ahead.
You could die.
You can die. Okay. But one will say, well, everyone is going to die then. What's a big deal? Sampada Mataji, yes.
Like, what if the house gets in fire and like that?
Very true. Very true. The world, yes, Abhishek, who? What do you say?
Like this is the true example, like I'm facing right now, fear of animals while you are while you are working on the field. So I walk in the mountains right now, so I can see the deers and all. So that is the fear every step. So
Yes, that's a
this is
very
the live
practical.
example. Just
So true. And we all have that. Nowadays, you open the news like shooting in this store, shooting in that store, not the photo shoot. Active shooters. That means they are they are like some crazy people just killing others, right? You may have seen a lot of those things in the newspapers or somewhere in the web or somewhere. These are real stories. These are not some concocted stuff. So accidents, shootings, fear of animals, right? Fear of nature sometimes, fear of this corona, right? Everyone has this fear. This is fear of other diseases, fear of losing one's you know job or something. So the point is there is danger at every step. One may think I'm secure or I am safe, but if one has not taken true shelter of the Supreme Lord, then that security and that shelter is just artificial. Because real security comes from the taking shelter at Lord's lotus feet. That's what this verse says. That that in this world we cannot cross over this mountain of suffering. But for one who takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then this world becomes like a tiny, water, a little water contained in the hoof print of a calf. Just imagine a calf presses in the mud and creates a hoof print. How much water is there? Like in this much, in your palm. Can everyone jump over this little puddle of water? Right, Navya, can you jump over this water if I have in my hoof print? Okay, everyone agrees that. So otherwise we can't cross over this mountain of suffering. So the point here, which Krishna is telling, to be connected, to connect the Atma to the Paramatma. So work for Krishna will lead to that kind of fearlessness. And when a devotee has that, when a devotee is engaged in the service of the Lord, then it's not that the material equation changes it, but the fear just goes away. That I will use my best intelligence under the guidance on the principles of Bhagavad Gita, and then Krishna, Marobi Rakhobi Ami Tomar. Krishna, you protect me, you kill me. I'll be happy like Prahlad Maharaj. He was a 5-year-old boy. Just think about 5-year-old person, even smaller than Navya, right? But he had complete faith in the Lord. He was never fearful. Big elephants were called to trample him over. Big poisonous snakes were called. He was thrown off the mountain cliffs, but there was not a drop of fear in his life. There was literally padam padam, not every second there was difficulty in his life, every second. But in that midst of all that, he was not disturbed. That is Krishna consciousness. That is the power of bhakti. That is what we are looking for. That is what the spiritual world is. So, who wants to be here? Who wants to be in a place full of suffering? Who wants to be in a place full of um, troubles at every step? So much fear, so much desires, and then all those lead to further entanglement, bondage, and then ultimately the death knocks the door. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, chapter 2 is really, really important. If one just studies chapter 2 nicely, and if we just follow chapter 2 in our lives, rest all is expansion. Chapter 2 basically tells each and every thing which is required for a jiva to know. It tells about the importance of Guru, Sadhu Sangha. It tells about the identity. Who am I? Who is God? What is my relationship? It tells how to execute ourselves in this world by nice balancing our two duties. We discussed that. We have been discussing till text 53. And then it also mentions from 53rd verse onwards what are the qualities we should strive for in this world. What are the qualities? What are the qualities of great soul? And that's basically the topic for today. So I'll move forward a little bit and we'll come to text number 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatita arishyati tada gantasi nirvedam Shrotavasya Shrutasya cha. Yes, Vedi or Navya?
When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very nice. So here is a beautiful point in the purport Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord, he no longer has to execute different types of penances and sacrifice recommended in the revealed scriptures. So in short, we have discussed, don't be caught up in the flowery languages of the Vedas. Don't just pick one verse from Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, or this Upanishad or that Upanishad and say, oh, I'm following Vedas. Sorry to say, Veda means book of knowledge. And Vedas have knowledge about everything. Vedas have knowledge about building an airplane, about physics, math, science, everything. But that's not the real goal of life. The real goal of life is to understand the essence of Vedas. Vedeshcha sarvet ahamiva vedyo. And what is that essence? To understand the Supreme Lord. Then no longer other rituals, penances. So we don't recommend go to Himalayas, stand on one leg, or stand on your head upside down and keep chanting some mantras, or give up family, give up children. This is not the Krishna conscious philosophy. Krishna conscious philosophy is no matter who we are, no matter whichever city we are in, no matter whatever our age is, no matter whatever our color of skin is, we all can practice bhakti. This is what Prabhupada is teaching. This is what Lord Chaitanya is teaching. This message is very, very universal because we are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, Atma. And the Atma has the fundamental right to practice bhakti. So whoever is sincere must take this process, understand this, and not waste one's time in just so-called rituals, just so-called ritualistic things. Bhagavad Gita is giving us the unalloyed message of pure bhakti. Okay. Text number 53. Now the question may come. One who understands the purpose of Vedas, how does he proceed? See the Karma Kand. Shruti vipriti yada sthāsyati nischala samadhava achala buddhis tada yogam avapsyasi. Yes, Murali Prabhu, want to read, please? Others can raise your hand if you're interested to read.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So again, that point is repeated, that don't be caught up in the flowery language of Vedas towards karma kand. Karma kand means fruitive action. Do this, get this. It's business, right? You go to a shop to pay $10, you get that product which is worth of $10. You pay $50, you get a product worth just $50. But in bhakti, it's totally opposite. Bhakti is above all those things. Bhakti is the real essence of Vedas. Bhakti is the real essence of Bhagavad Gita. Bhakti is the essence of all the scriptures. So if one understands that, one doesn't need to follow these karma kanda principles. So bhakti is simple. Anyone can do it. Everyone can do it. And everyone must do it. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna and his representative. Simple. That is the conclusion of bhakti. That is the essence of all the Shastras. And then the Guru and Krishna, the representative of the Lord, will help us to go to our real destination. That is back home, back to Godhead. Now, Arjuna, the context is changing. So the little bit changing of the gears in GITA. You remember the acronym? Who all remember the acronym of Bhagavad Gita? The acronym is Gita. Okay, so chapter 2. I'll just write here acronym. G is for Guru. The first about 11 verses talk about that point, that one needs to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The next verses, up to about 30 verses, talk about the identity. I'm not the body, I'm the spirit soul. And the difference between the body and the soul, discuss in great details. The next verse till text 53, we talk about duties, we talk about karma kanda, fruitive work, we talk about akarma, vikarma, and sakam karma, etc. What will be the goal? What will be the destination? What's the consciousness of people doing so? And the last section of this chapter is about Atmarama. In short, the qualities of self-realized soul. How does a self-realized soul act or react? I was sharing a story in the kids class about life is 10% what you make it and 90% how you take it. Quite powerful. In short, how do we react to situations? How do we respond to situations which come in our life? This will be discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. Because two people may respond to same situation in a totally different way. Raise your hand if you agree with that. The two people may totally respond to the same situation in a totally different way. Right? Do you agree? Or do you think that they'll respond the same way? They'll respond differently or may respond differently. Why do they respond differently? Yes, Vidhi?
Well, they're both two different people and they might react to a certain situation two different ways. They have different thought process.
Different thought process. Very good. Yes, Ekant Prabhu, you want to share? Why will they respond differently?
People are different, right, Prabhu? I think it's kind of going the same way. Thought process is different.
Thought process. Very good. Thoughts and how do our association, what is our guiding principle, what is our vision towards life, all those things will impact one's devotional qualities, one's spiritual value system, right? The famous story which I share about the parrots, right? There were two parrots. One was taken by the dacoits and one was taken by the saints. There were two twins. Even two twins can respond differently. The children, the brothers or sisters or the same parents will respond differently. So coming back to the parrots, one parrot, so a saintly person was passing by through a city where these dacoits were living, and the parrot was on the outskirts of the city and said, "Hey, kill him, loot him, murder him. This person is coming." Said all wrong, all sorts of nonsense words, and the saint somehow ran for his life and just ran away. He went somehow to the next village where this another parrot was there, exactly looking the same. And then he said, "Oh, great soul, we are so blessed that you have come to our city. Please come. Um, we welcome you. You must be tired. Say, take some water, take some rest." Now the saint was confused. "You look exactly like the parrot I met just an hour back." He said, "Actually, he's my brother, my twin." He said, why do you two respond so differently?" He said, "Because at one point, the dacoits took him and he was in their association. He is being fed their thought process. He is working under their direction. And that's how his nature has become. Whatever association we surround ourselves in will become that. That's our future. If someone wants to know what their future is, we should see what kind of association are we surrounded with. We'll become that. Very simple. Good or bad. The choice is ours. We cannot choose a lot of things in our life. Can I choose the weather? Let's say it's sunny. I want it to rain. I don't want it sunny. I can't choose it. Can I choose my height? No, I can't choose it. A lot of factors we can't. Can I choose my parents? I can't choose it. Can I choose, what, how the temperature will be tomorrow? Can I choose when will Corona go? Right? I can't choose a lot of things in life, but one thing we can all choose is the kind of association which we keep or surround ourselves. The kind of association we keep, the kind of thought process will develop, the kind of habits will develop, the kind of response we will, it will naturally come. It will naturally, our responses, or as we come into spiritual life, as we start practicing the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, we naturally will experience that without any extra endeavor. So, coming to this verse, which Arjuna is asking, now we're talking about the qualities, okay? From this point onwards, we are talking to, maybe it will take one more session, because there are 72 verses in chapter 2. Let's start from here. Arjuna uvacha sthitapragyasya ka bhasha samadhistatasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhaseta kim asita vrajeta kim. Yes, someone wants to read? Yes, Megha Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So in the last few verses, we were discussing that a person is sthita pragya, right? One's intelligence is fixed, correct? And now, or a jiva mukta, or a self-realized soul, or a person who has attained the stage of divine consciousness, as we read in the previous verse, that then you will have attained the divine consciousness, right? We read that word in 53 here, the divine consciousness. So samadho, samadhi means intelligence. Sama means the word same, in English comes from this only, because Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. So sama means same, or he's equipoised, or in transcendental consciousness. So now Arjuna is asking for all of us, what are the symptoms or the qualities? So basically Arjuna is asking multiple questions here. 4 questions in particular. The first is ka bhasha. Bhasha means language. Or language is basically what describes a person. So in short, Krishna, the first question is, what are the symptoms of that person who is in transcendental consciousness? Then kim prabheshta. How does that person speak? Now one may say, well, through the mouth, right? How does the transcendental person speak? So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains a very nice point, that even a parrot can also say Hare Krishna. So we all speak through the mouth. And the parrot can say Hare Krishna, but when you put when the parrot is in a difficult situation, then it'll say, whatever this parrot language is, it'll say ka, 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 whatever the parrot words are, help me, protect me. Then the parrot will not say Hare Krishna. So in short, a transcendental person, like Sri Prahlad Maharaj, what was he doing in the time of difficulty? He was remembering Lord Vishnu, or Lord Narayana, or Lord Krishna. So a pure soul in the transcendental consciousness, even at the time of greatest difficulty, even there is sometimes the people may say harsh words to us, correct? Even the people sometimes may say good words to us, or to that person, but that person will not be shaken. That is what Arjuna is asking. How does that person react when one person receives praise externally, or what is his intention? Does he do tit for tat? Oh, someone says harsh words to me, I'll say 10 harsh words to him or her. Or does that person tolerate that? Tit for tat or tolerate that? There's a very nice class on that topic for those who are interested. Kim asit, how does that person sit? In short, how does that person control one's senses? Sense control is a very, very important topic in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, it is in chapter 2, the summary. Or how does one restrain the senses from the sense objects? So we'll talk about that also. And Kim Vrajit, how does that person walk? Vraja means walk. In short, how does he respond to the sense objects? So we'll discuss these questions of Arjuna, and Krishna will respond, because everyone has symptoms, right? A rich person has a symptom and certain symptoms. Prabhupada is mentioning, it is said that the fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. A well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks, but as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. So in short, It applies to a devotee also. Putting tilak, putting dhoti, kurta, sari, or acting as a devotee is very easy, correct? But as soon as one's challenging situation comes, how does a devotee react? That is the real test of a litmus test of a devotee. Like a fool in this case is maybe dressed very sophisticatedly, but the person will start talking nonsense, and then everyone will know that it's just a so-called, maybe dressed as a decent person, but is actually a fool. So in short, we should not be just dressed like a devotee, or we should internally harmonize those qualities which Krishna will talk about here, which Arjuna is asking for our benefit. Because dress is just the external. Of course, dress is important, but not the real thing. So we discussed the story of parrot also. So let's see what Krishna will respond in the next verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan Atmani evatmana tushta sthita pragyastad uchyate. You can't probably want to read this one.
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all variety of desires for sense gratification, which arises from mental concussion, and when his mind thus purified and finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in a pure transcendental consciousness. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, what are the general symptoms? Ka bhasha. That's the first question. 4 questions were asked in the previous verse. So, text 55 is basically answering the first question here. So, in short, a pure soul, a self-realized soul, a person in transcendental consciousness has no material desires. Very important point. That means a person has only spiritual desires. To become desireless does not mean to not have any desires, but to mean to not have any material desires or for selfish sense gratification. Prabhupada is making a very nice point. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then all the sense desires will automatically subside without extraneous effort. That means whatever which is unfavorable for our lives, our craving will stop for that. Naturally, the craving will stop. One will understand that, and actually this verse is going to come, the higher taste verse, which we will talk very, very soon. So, because there is so much variety in Krishna consciousness, music, kirtan, nice prasadam, nice Vaishnavis, and so much family atmosphere, festivals, bhakti, transcendental environment, brotherhood, familyhood. So that is such a higher taste, then one does not feel to gratify the lower taste, which just bind us further into this material world. So in short, one remains happy in the natural position of serving the Supreme Lord, giving up the manodharma. So we have to give up what? Sense gratification and mental concoction. Mental concoction means not following Bhagavad Gita, not following spiritual master. just thinking, oh, I think this is good, I think this is fine, I think this is all mental concoction. We just studied a devotee works under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, spiritual master, the Supreme Lord, and which is backed up by the scriptures. And that leads to purification of mind, and that leads to purification of habits, because we say that watch your thoughts, because thoughts become actions. Watch your actions, because actions become the habits, and watch your habits, because habit becomes a kind of a culture or conditioning. And even before that, if we say watch your desires, because the desires will turn into thoughts, or they're kind of similar. Watch your association, because association will impact our thoughts. If let's say, for example, if one is just surrounded by people who have a certain type of car, okay, the brand new $100,000 car, okay, so that person may have just a normal car which does the normal purpose, which is to go from A point to point B. But this person is surrounded by these 5 people who just talk about their new car, what they're experiencing, what they're going through, where they go in the last weekend. What will this person, crave for? Any guesses? Quite straightforward, right? When will I also want to get that car, right? Pretty simple. So association will impact our thoughts also. We discussed the example of parrots as well. Now, same is true on the positive side as well. We may not have great desire for bhakti, but if we surround ourselves with the right environment, with the enthusiastic devotees who are truly trying to serve the Supreme Lord selflessly, with great enthusiasm, interest, bhakti, then we will also develop those desires. Association rubs off. Now it's a choice whether we want to be rubbed off with the darkness of material world, or we want to be rubbed off with the true knowledge of bhakti. That is a choice. So a true transcendently situated person has no desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, is happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So it's a choice. Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha sukkheshu vigataspraha vitaraga bhaya krodha stitadhir munir uchyate. Who has not yet read and wants to read? Avinashji, will you read?
Yeah. Translation. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called a sage of steady mind. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So Krishna is answering the next question of Arjuna. In text 54, Arjuna has 4 questions. How does this person speak? So in short, is undisturbed in mind, in threefold miseries. Threefold miseries means Adi Bhautik, miseries because of other living entities. Adi Daivik, miseries because of natural disturbances. And then Adi Atmik, one's own body and mind. Can anyone give example of Adi Bhautik or miseries caused by other living entities? Yes, Vedi?
Like, coronavirus?
Yeah, that's true. Very good. Anyone else? The shooting in the grocery store, right? Did the people who went to the grocery store, did they plan that this would be their last, day of life, correct? An insane person just, got mad and shot at the innocent people, right? Just recently, another incidents happened. Like practically every day, something is happening like this, right? We all agree because this is like Adi Bhautik. We don't know what's going to come, and one more incident I was sharing. A family had a dog and a 1-year-old young girl. The 1-year-old girl just went near the dog's food plate and the dog just ripped her apart. The end, right? This is not some concocted stuff. This is all current affairs. This is all, it may sound a little weird, but still, we should not blind ourselves to these things. Some people say, well, everything is fine. And that's the biggest kind of illusion. Everyone, these anxiety, these troubles are threefold miseries are there, but and they remain ignorant. People remain ignorant. Now that does not mean that we kind of stop living or stop acting. A devotee is not disturbed. In the sense, a devotee knows that yes, I am doing what I have to do under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and by Krishna's arrangement, he'll arrange the best for me. So Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmik, anyone can say one's own body and mind. Any examples?
Old age.
Old age, yeah. Anyone wants old age? Anyone wants to exchange their age for with a 70-year-old person or 80-year-old person? Right? No one wants. We all want to be young and healthy. But old age is challenge. What about any like anxiety, stress, hypertension, depression? These problems are more these days, correct? Why? Because of one's own body and mind. And then Adi Daivik, natural disturbances like hurricanes, tsunamis, and forest fires, etc. So, not disturbed. A pure soul is not disturbed. What about happiness and sorrow? So, that doesn't mean that this pure soul does not have emotions or like a machine. Not too happy when things are going as per the plan, and not be too depressed when things are not going as per the plan. Understanding that it's not the my plan which will work. It is Krishna's plan which is going to work. Health and disease will come in the life of devotees as well. Ups and downs will come in the life of devotees as well. They will not be spared by the laws of material nature. But one thing will be different, how they respond to those situations. Correct? I think you've discussed this point many times. Who is free from attachment and fear. That's also important. And that person is a sage of steady mind. So let's see some beautiful kind of points from the purport. How does, when trouble comes in the life of a devotee, how does that devotee take? A fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaught of the threefold miseries, for he accepts or she accepts all the miseries as the mercy of the Lord. Tattenukampam susamikshamana is a beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam. That whatever comes, he accepts it. Okay, it's Lord's arrangement for me. Thinking himself only worth of more trouble due to the past misdeeds. Let's say the one got a finger, let's say something happened to a finger, like a cut. One would think, well, Krishna is so merciful that because of my past karma, my whole hand would have been chopped off, but Krishna just gave me a very insignificant token of that, and sees miseries by the grace of the Lord are minimized to the lowest. This is Lord's message, Brahmaji's message. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord. Very important. Not thinking, oh, look at the success I have achieved. Look at the big thing I have done. Life will sometimes throw success at us, sometimes, miseries. We have to remember to give the credit to the Supreme Lord. Thinking himself unworthy of the happiness, he realizes that it is due to only by the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. Very, very important. So in short, not influenced by all these external parameters. Someone will speak harsh words, someone will speak kind words. There will be success at some time, there will be failure. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady. That is what is required. In the material world, opposite happens. People are either too happy, some people die out of happiness or so-called happiness. Someone may win a lottery or something, and then they get a heart attack. They can't control their emotions. Have you heard of those? Right? It's a true story. I'm not joking either. Or someone gets a shocking news and then they got a heart attack. Right? Again, bhakti is like, these are like sine waves and cos waves and stuff, up and down, crest and trough. Material world up keeps throwing us up and down. But bhakti helps us to put a filter and make it stabilize, or lower the what I forgot the terms which were called, lower the magnitude of those heights or the peak length of those crests and troughs. In short, bhakti, if I have to kind of draw it on my whiteboard, just to share the point I was trying to make. So in the material world, ups and downs like this. Happiness, too much happy, sorrow, totally depressed. But what bhakti helps us to, from gradually, as the more one starts to make progress, the more one's life will become equipoised, right? The more one become equipoised, that means whether happiness or distress, one will be steady. The more we make spiritual progress. Who want this, the left side, and who want right side? Put a thumbs up if you want right side, and you put a thumbs down if you want left side. I guess there is no thumbs down option. So good. We all want that, right? We all want to be equipoised. And bhakti will help us to put that filter in our lives. Let's take the next verse. Okay, any comments so far?
Probably one quick question, probably. May just clarify question.
Sure.
So the distress caused by people, the other people, is it the Bhautik? Yeah. Okay. So any talks that cause harm to you? I mean, harm to us, like kind of distress you. Call us. They'll be thinking.
Yeah. Neighbor, manager, relatives, anyone, any disturbance, husband, wife, children, parents, relatives, any living entity causing ants, roaches, snake, right? Like Abhishek Prabhu mentioned that he's working on the mountain, in the field, and there is fear, which is genuine, right? Like a wild animal may come or something. Sometimes you're walking in the dark night and then you may fear in Florida, well, the snake should not pop up, right? That's all Adi Bhautik. Padam Padam Vipadam. So, anyone, any disturbance, husband, wife, children, relatives, anyone, Okay. We'll see if we can take one or two more verses. 57. Ya sarvatrani bhishneha tat prapya shubha ashubham Nabhinandati na dveshti tasya pragya pratisthita. Yes, Bhaswati Mataji, you want to read this one?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I think we discussed this point as well. Let's take one or two points from the purport. One who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil because he or she is simply concerned with Krishna, who is all good and absolute. Isn't it wonderful? Because material world will throw us ups and downs. Material world is defined as ashashvatam. It is not a place where it will be eternal happiness here. One may be having good health for some time. It's like a storm before the rain, or like the thunder before the lightning. And then the bad health will come. One may will have bad health after some time. One may get good health. One may be poor for some time. One may get wealth. One may be a king. It's for some time. One may become pauper. One may get a lot of name fame sometime, and one may be ridiculed the next day, and vice versa. In short, this world is full of dualities, dvanda. So what we have to put? The filter of bhakti. As we discussed just now, when we put the filter of bhakti, then these dualities, okay, these are the dualities, ups and downs, won't bother us. One's life will become, these are like the positive experiences, these are the negative experiences, happy experiences, sad experiences. In this situation, one becomes too happy. Oh, wow, yay, I got something I wanted, wonderful, yay, party time. And then opposite, totally opposite. And then these extremes, one can, basically one's lose one's life also. And I shared some stories also. So in bhakti, whether one is positive or negative, equipoise. Again, easier said than done. It's a journey, right? So the more we try to practice, the more, and we will feel it for ourselves. We'll feel it. Bhakti is very, very perceptible. 58. Yada samharate chayam kurmo anganiv sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratisthita. Okay, anyone wants to read? Yes, Prakriti, Mataji, you want to read? Lakshya or Babu Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So now we come to the third question, which is Kim Asit. How does that person restrain one's senses? Because we are in this world. It's not that everything will be, wherever we go, we'll find devotee association. It's not that anywhere we go, people will be very kind and composed to us. It's not that the rules of the material world will change for us. So we have to restrain our senses and learn from tortoise. Krishna is telling us, how many of you have seen tortoise? Raise your hand. Most of you have seen tortoise, right? Have you ever gotten closer to the tortoise? What does the tortoise do? It pulls the senses inward, right? Kurma. So when the tortoise feels this is not the time, this looks like a time of danger, this is the time I should pull my senses in. That means refrain from the activities which are not conducive for my goal. And what is the goal? Attachment to Krishna, bhakti. So for example, the friend will say, hey, let's try this new drug. Let's try this new thing, which is bad. We know that through our nourished intelligence, which is not conducive for our lives. At that time, we should restrain. No, sorry, you try. I don't encourage you to try, but sorry, please excuse me for this. Right? Someone will offer us liquor or non-vegetarian food products, etc. No, sorry, I have certain, due to my health reasons or whatever, I don't, please excuse me for these. So that time we have to restrain like a tortoise, like withdraw from those. Hate the sin, not the sinner. We're not saying that person is bad, but that habit is bad. That activity may be bad. At that point, we have to withdraw. If we don't withdraw, then we are kind of not in our shelter, right? That shell is the shell of bhakti. If we are in that shell of bhakti, we'll be protected. But if we let our mind be vulnerable to others' thoughts, that means we hear from people who are not giving us true advice. That means we are letting our mind to be vulnerable. We are exposing our senses. We are exposing our mind. Then guess what? It will impact us, right? But this strong shell of bhakti will protect us. So we have to nourish this shell also. Nourish this shell by strong chanting, by reading Bhagavad Gita. Make it stronger and harder and more firm and fixed, so that the challenges of this world cannot harm us, right? And then when we are in the shell of bhakti, then we will not be disturbed. I often give this example of like a lotus. Be like, this comes in the chapter 5, we are doing in the kids class. There's a paper, like imagine this, there's a paper, right? Okay, the normal paper. If I put a black spot on this, black ink, the paper will absorb. If I put red ink, the paper will absorb that and the color will change. But if I laminate this paper with the plastic lamination sheet, and then if I put a black drop, it won't touch the paper. Same with the red drop or same with the orange drop. So what's happening? It's in the shell of that lamination. It's in the shell of bhakti. We will not be affected by the outside forces. But if we openly try, okay, let me try with a new bar in town. I'll just drink maybe water there. I'll just drink lemonade there. This is all just a trap. We have to be very careful. Same with trying, things which may not be helpful to us. We have to be careful where I need to open my senses and where I need to pull my senses inside. And therefore we need spiritual guides, mentors, teachings of Bhagavad Gita to understand that. Who is my true well-wisher? Who is genuinely looking for my benefit and who is trying to harm me? So this is Bhagavad Gita, teaching us through the example of a tortoise. Even nature has so much to teach us if we have the eyes to see that. Very, very important point here. The point here is the senses are, just share this point. 58, yeah. Yeah, the yogi or devotee must be very strong to control the serpents, like a snake charmers. So the unrestricted senses are compared to the venomous serpents. They're very, very dangerous, but we have to control these venomous serpents, okay? And how do we control them? By not allowing them to act independently. That means that the sense wants like say the ears want to kind of hear some bad music. The eyes want to see something bad. The tongue wants to taste something bad. If we just allow it independently, can we control it? Never. No. We have to control it through restraining. It's like adding fuel to the fire. If we keep adding fuel to the fire, the senses will never be satiated. There is no end. So we have to learn from tortoise and understand this is, I have to restrain from it. Therefore, in the path of bhakti, there are certain do's and don'ts. Now one may say, well, why are you talking about the do's and don'ts, right? Then we have to talk about the next verse. Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina raso varjam raso pyasya param drishtva nivartate. Last verse for today, and then we'll pause. Yes, Sampada Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, back to you.
Thank you. So now some people think, well, you're telling, stop kind of using your senses, be like a tortoise. That's not the point. The point is give up the lower taste and take the higher taste. Instead of eating anything nonsense, we eat Krishna Prasad. And Krishna Prasad doesn't mean just, there are like thousands of preparations, wonderful preparations. We can eat all the sattvic food, rasagolla, rasmalai, samosas, pakoras, and gulab jamuns, and whatever, North Indian, South Indian, Chinese, Italian, whatever, there is no limit. There are devotees in ISKCON from all over the world, and they make amazing prasad. There's a special group called Prasadarians. We are not, saying don't eat food. We are saying eat Krishna Prasad. Take the higher taste. How many of you have felt a higher taste after eating prasad, which you will not get in any restaurant, any other food? Raise your hand if you have experienced that higher taste in honoring prasadam. Have you felt the special? There's something special in here, which is not there in any restaurant, any other thing, right? So some of you have felt it. That's awesome. We can feel it every day. We should feel it. This is the higher taste. When Prabhupada came to United States, the people were trying so many lower tastes, like pleasure of bodily pleasures and pleasure of drugs, pleasure of lower taste. But when Prabhupada gave the higher taste of Krishna conscious mantra and chanting and dancing and feasting and fasting, bhakti and festivals and Ratha Yatras, and amazing, people just gave up their lower propensities naturally. If one has let's say in a mundane world example, if one has a brand new iPhone, then one will not crave for the 20-year-old phone, correct? Right? It's a mundane example. It's not the apt example, but the point is, if one has a higher taste, one will not crave for the lower taste. So bhakti is that higher taste, not the iPhone. It's just an example to help understand the point. So we are not saying just renounce everything, stop eating food, stop hearing music, stop hearing, stop going to any place. This is not bhakti. Just go to Himalayas and just eat some roots and berries. No. Bhakti means very, very practical in any situation, every situation. One needs to give up the lower taste and take the higher taste under the guidance of the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. One story, because you all like story, okay? One time, a saintly person, who had many disciples, and he had special potencies also, okay? There was a person who was, falling sick and kind of, really having a bad stomach and was not getting healthy from a long time. All the disciples were wondering what will happen. This person is so sick. Everyone was very compassionate, giving him some food, giving him some care. So this guru came and said, you have to fast for 48 hours, 2 days, full fasting, nothing eaten. And the people were confused. Well, this person is already, suffering. If he don't get any, nutrition, any food, he'll practically die. But the guru said no, he has to fast. So he fasted for 48 hours. Now he's so sick, so kind of, just about to pass. And then the guru said, bring a cup of fresh, warm milk with honey and a butter on top. Nice. Honey, milk, butter. Sounds interesting. And then this person said, now the guru said, open your mouth. So he put the glass right here. Imagine the glass is full of butter. And imagine I'm that person who is sick. 48 hours I've not eaten. What will be your intention? I want to drink it, right? I'm hungry. And the glass is just next to me. I'm smelling the nice milk with honey and butter. Guru said, no, you can't drink it. Just keep this thing right here. Okay? And guess what? From his mouth came a tapeworm. Smelling that milk and smelling that ghee and honey, came out the tapeworm out of the mouth. It's not going to come because by God's grace, okay. So the point was a tapeworm was inside this person's body who was kind of taking all the nutrition and causing so many problems. And then this worm was not allowing this person to get healthier. So what happened? For the fasting, the tapeworm also was exhausted and then was not getting nutrition. And with the smell of this milk, honey, and ghee, wanted to come out. So very important lesson here. The tapeworm was eating whatever the boy ate. So the tapeworm represents the bad qualities here, my dear friends. If we don't strive to develop good qualities and continue to have bad qualities, the tapeworm, the bad qualities will take our energy meant to serve God or the Supreme Lord Krishna. Okay, so we must try. We're talking about developing these good qualities. I know they are not it's not a one-day thing that we can be from that state of up and down to be fully equilibrium. It's not a one-day thing, but we have to strive for it. We have to genuinely try for those, and then when we sincerely try, we'll certainly be able to do that. There should be strong desire and strong effort, and then certainly Krishna will help us. So and this is, our process is not a process of negation. Our process is process of addition. That means we're not saying don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. We are saying do this. Add bhakti in your life. Add the holy name in your life. Add Krishna Prasad in your life. And whatever is inappropriate will slowly calm down and just get out like a tapeworm out of our lives. And that Krishna will give us the intelligence, what is good, what is not good. So I'll pause here and maybe we can take one or two reflections or questions or comments if anyone has. But I'm so grateful that all of you are so sincere and eager to read and hear and study Bhagavad Gita. Any comments, additions, or thoughts, questions? Feel free to share. Anyone? Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I don't have any comments, Prabhuji, but one thing I just want to remind myself is about the tortoise example you just mentioned. How we should be detached from the things that we don't want to, just slowly taking away ourselves back into the shell and going back to normal once everything goes off. I really like that example, Prabhuji, and it is very true that association is very important, and that is what keeps you alive. I will alive as in like in bhakti. The more once you get out of that association, the Maya will automatically take you away into the because of the sense gratification, and sense are our biggest. I think it's both blessing and disguise. So that's one point which I really like, Prabhuji, today, the example that you gave. And it is really made sense. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. I'm just repeating what the Supreme Lord is giving example to Arjuna. It's actually a verse right there. Thank you. Very nice. Very, very practical. Anyone else has any other comments? Okay, so we will pause here, read this chapter. So for those who are reading along, I encourage you to read in the full chapter. Now you can just complete the rest of the chapter. And the following class, we will start the next chapter. So thank you again for all your precious time and attention and sincerity. I really kind of pray for this Saturday evening Bhagavad Gita to get all of your wonderful association. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna, thank you again. Hare Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very
Thank you,
much.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.